I know that place. Mad Dog. Come on.
Yes, sir.
That's a football stadium. That's an amazing football stadium. About 2 seasons old. By the way, folks, you see on the other side of that highway right there? That's the Las Vegas Strip. That's how close the football stadium is to the Strip. What a great city. Just, it's home away from home, so to speak. All right. Welcome back on this beautiful, well, I say beautiful, it's beautiful down here. Not sure where you are, but South Florida, always beautiful. It is Good Friday. Jesus died on the cross on Good Friday. We're not supposed to say Happy Good Friday, but it's a beautiful Friday nonetheless. Markets are closed today for Good Friday, but they did turn out with that last 500-point down move the other day. Anyway, well, let's do a little bit of rapid reaction, shall we? Jake Tapper doesn't have many friends left. He's a bit desperate. After forfeiting whatever remaining credibility he had left during the end of Biden's presidency, CNN's golden boy is trying really hard to keep some people by his side. Sometimes that might mean kissing a little you-know-what, which is exactly what Jakey did during a sit-down with the actor George Clooney. Take a listen.
You yourself did something that a lot of people would call brave when you wrote your op-ed.
Well, I don't know if it was brave. It was a civic duty, because I found that people on my side of the street, I'm a Democrat. I was a Democrat in Kentucky, so I get it. When I saw people on my side of the street not telling the truth, I thought that was time to...
Are people still mad at you for that?
Some people, sure. It's okay. Listen, the idea of freedom of speech, the specific idea of it is, you can't demand freedom of speech and then say, but don't say bad things about me.
Three thoughts on that. Number one, of course, you're right, George Clooney. Number two, where the hell were you? What took you so long? He literally was the last minute supporting Joe Biden until the last minute. And number three, I don't know if you saw the shot, but is he really tiny? Either Jake's a monster or George Clooney's a really tiny guy. Had no idea. Sticking with CNN, they're among the largest cheerleaders for Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the abusive illegal whose deportation has caused all sorts of hysteria on the left. Listen to the hard pivot that CNN does when his rap sheet is put on the table during a discussion about the situation. Watch.
I think it is a political issue. I also think it's a national security issue. Prince George's County in 2019, their gang unit determined that Garcia was an MS-13 gang member. His wife in 2021, the wife that's now giving lengthy testimonies about how great he is, said that he's a serial abuser, and she has a ton of photos to showcase said abuse. I agree, due process is absolutely important. We want to maintain that, but I think there's absolutely enough here to send this guy somewhere else. One, he's already broken the law. We've already established that. Now you do have evidence suggesting that he was a member or is a member of MS-13. He's also a serial abuser. This is not the type of individual I don't think any one of us would want in our country. He should be deported.
But respectfully, Sir Michael, we can't make it about Kilmar. That's just one person.
But that's the case we're talking about.
That is, but I guess if we look at the macro and not the micro.
No, lady on the left, Sure Michael's right. The lady on the left who said that can't make it about Abrego, of course, Abrego Garcia, of course you do. That's what this is all about. We deported an illegal whose wife herself tried to get him arrested several times. Judges, courts, others have found that he is part of MS-13, including Homeland Security. Stop. It's a losing cause. Stop defending illegals, people who break the law to get here. More from our buddies over at CNN who continue to whine and moan about Trump's deportation, yet they know the truth. Americans are overwhelmingly in favor of Team Trump's moves at the border. Just listen to CNN break down the numbers that they hate so much to say.
Deport all undocumented immigrants. Voters favoring the government trying to deport all 11 million of them. Back in 2016, just 38% of voters wanted the government to try to deport all 11 million undocumented immigrants. Compared to where we are in 2025, 56%, the majority. The American people have come a long way on this issue, much closer to Donald Trump, and I think that's a big part of the reason why Americans are increasingly saying the country is on the right track when it comes to immigration policy, and why Donald Trump's net approval rating on that issue is in the positive.
56%. Trump's doing the right thing. Let's poll Americans about reducing our taxes. What do you think the number's going to be? I don't know. Higher? I'd say higher than 56%. Let's keep going. Making the country safe. closing the border. Everything Trump is doing is supported by the American people. That's why he won with a slam dunk victory over Kamala Harris. But CNN, MSNBC, they keep fighting, don't they? Since we're talking about CNN, let's see what Dana Bash is up to. She interviewed Eric Adams, remember, mayor of New York, current mayor of New York, and finished really hard for a headline-grabbing response about immigration. She tried to get him to say something he didn't want to say. Needless to say, she did not get the answer that she was looking for.
Are you openly working with the Trump administration? I mean, as you work with them on these issues, are you comfortable with the way in which they are rounding up and deporting people, especially in the case of what is going on right now with a federal judge ordering the Trump administration to facilitate the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and the administration is refusing?
Well, one thing I'm clear on is that I'm not a hypocrite. I've been very clear on my policies, and if we look at the wording and the communications I stated of Trump, President Trump being elected, it's the same. There's consistency. And what I am clear on, we must have federal immigration policies. When you allow an open border and you allow anyone to come through, you have a $7.5 billion price tag on our cities. El Paso shouldn't be going through this. Chicago shouldn't be going through this. New York shouldn't be going through this.
A couple things to unpack there. CNN trying to get Mayor Adams to say something that he didn't want to say, probably put him on a spot about pivoting. But when Mayor Adams said that he's never changed, it's the same policy before Trump got elected than after, that is absolute BS. Eric Adams declared New York a sanctuary city. You know what a sanctuary city is, obviously, right? It means they'll protect illegals. Well, they break the law getting here, but if you go to the sanctuary cities, San Francisco, places in Oregon, New York, Chicago, sanctuary cities means they will not allow ICE to deport illegals who've broken the law. Eric Adams is a pro-sanctuary city for New York until he got in trouble and he realized that Trump might be the only one who could pardon him, and he jumped to the other side. So these liberal politicians are absolute hypocrites. They're liars. They're politicians. Their mouth is moving. They're lying. They're horrible people. I said that before, and I'll say it again. Guess what, Eric? We have the internet. You didn't. You're lying. Now, good, fine, support Trump, great, but you can't say you were always on board. You weren't. Sorry. To say that CNN isn't in a good place would be, I guess, a wild understatement. The talent pool there has drastically hollowed out, and whoever is actually left on the roster has taken such a public beating after, remember this, relentlessly supporting old dementia Joe until his final minutes in office. They lost all their credibility and their ratings, yet their content does serve a purpose. What we see on their air tells us what we should never, ever, ever believe about the legacy media. Here's Cassie Hunt trying to challenge Title IX, an effort that continues to come up short no matter how many times they try to make it men and women's sports sounding fair.
Madam Secretary, I do want to put up Title IX because it seems like that's the foundation of your argument here. Just as a reminder for anyone, I know my own mother was a massive beneficiary of Title IX. I'm lucky to be young enough that had been settled by the time I went to school. It says no person in the United States shall, on the basis of sex, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any education program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. So can you explain why you think transgender athletes amounts to sex discrimination under this title?
I think there are two sexes. There's male and female. And so transgender doesn't have a play in this. You're born a boy, you're a boy. You're born a girl, you're a girl. And even with puberty blocking hormones, etc., males are still stronger. Their structure is different.
Linda McMahon just mic dropped that moment. That was the best Title IX discussion response to the liberal leftists I've probably ever seen. She's fantastic. Remember, Linda McMahon, who ran WWE, knows exactly the difference between a boy and a girl, as she puts it. Kudos to you, Linda McMahon. Be back in 2.5.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
That's not nice. Isn't that nice? That song, that beautiful anthem of patriotism. God Bless USA is the anthem for all proud Americans, especially for MAGA Americans, people who follow Trump like us from the very beginning. My next guest has won many industry awards from the Academy of Country Music, the Country Music Association, and the Grammys. I'm happy to have my friend Lee Greenwood with us today. Lee, really good to have you, friend. That song is so iconic. It's so associated with you, and now it's become so associated with Donald Trump. Tell us, just real quickly for the folks that don't really understand how that happened, tell us how that happened, Lee.
You know, the song itself is a testimony to how much I love my country. And I think it resonated with so many people because I'm from the farmlands of California and I'm pretty much blue collar. I mean, I've existed in the white collar sector before. I lived 20 years in Las Vegas, Nevada. I learned how to deal with that community. Of course, I'm comfortable in big cities and in rural areas. And I think all of the presidents who have used my song, let's go back to Reagan, Ronald Reagan years. I was at 1984 with the first RNC that I performed at. And then I met 41 at the White House with a congressional appearance there. And then I became his very close friend up until the time he passed. I saw him 2 weeks before Kenny Bunkport. And then his son, 43, which appointed me to the National Endowment of the Arts Council. I knew him well. I worked his campaign. And I just didn't think that God Bless USA would ever be so more important as we moved into the future for our country. It became a military anthem, no doubt. We've done 16 USO tours, and we continue to do that as we move into the future. We build homes for wounded warriors. So my focus was not political. It was about building the fiber of America and certainly gives tribute to our military. But when Donald Trump started using God Bless the USA for his rallies, I was sitting in my living room with my wife, Kim, and my feet are up on the coffee table. And I heard my song being played, and then he appeared on the screen. I said, he's using my song again, another president. And now we may have the greatest president who has ever been in the White House, who is making moves that'll make America strong again, and proud to be there with him.
You know, Lee, it strikes me you were there from the very beginning, and you were proud the minute you heard that. You're telling us, and I know you are. I remember Tom Petty's estate saying, "Don't use, we won't back down." I remember even the Village people saying, "YMCA, stop." They've since changed their mind, and now they're at Mar-a-Lago, whatnot. But you were from the very beginning. You were yes, Trump, take that and run with it. That's quite the foresight on your part.
I don't know if you know the complete history of our family and the Trump family. My wife was former Miss Tennessee USA, and she then accepted, when we got married, 34 years last week. It's really a bliss.
Congratulations.
And so she accepted the executive director of Tennessee for Miss USA, Miss Universe. And so 30 years now we've known Donald Trump and had no idea that our association would grow closer politically and move into a place where we would actually be in the forefront. After the campaign and Donald Trump was sworn in as president again, as the 47th president of the United States, I felt it was 1984. I felt like my career started all over again. And it's funny, we've just been appointed to a trustee of the Kennedy Center, which I'm very proud to be there as one of the new trustees. And there was something, he was now the chairman of the board. And he said something to the media about they wouldn't let me sing because it's $30,000. And I thought he said, I'm charging him $30,000 to sing. I did not. It was, they couldn't move a piano for $30,000. I'm like, I don't need the piano. I'll sing without it. It was just funny.
Yes. And Lee, I know you're a very spiritual man. I know you've signed a very, very nice inscription on my Bible that you have. There's a constitution in this Bible as well. You know, give us a couple of thoughts on, if I can do this, and I hope you don't take offense to this, not personally, but just generally, it's Easter weekend, right? This is Good Friday. We have, Holy Saturday and Easter Sunday coming up. And I've harkened back to the last president, and a couple of times during this Easter time, there were these trans parade things in the White House, on the White House lawn, and the pride flag, which should never, ever be flanked by the United States flag. The flag, Old Glory, should always be the primary flag. And Biden did that, and it just felt wrong, especially at this time. So tell us how the spirituality of all this affects you, and Americans should understand that.
Well, make no mistake, it's been an interesting month for us. We were in Arlington, Texas for the opening of the Medal of Honor Museum. And let me tell you, nobody has been there. It's been open a month or so. You need to go visit it. It gives the stories of the valor and the sacrifice that our military has made for our freedom. That's first. Second of all, this Easter weekend, this is Good Friday at the time of this taping. And I got this the other night. I wanted you to see this. This is kind of cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I just want to make sure people knew who the real boss is for me. And in this Easter weekend, yes, you mentioned the Bible that we have, and President Trump embraced this and endorsed it as well. This is the God Bless USA Bible, and in it is the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and the Pledge of Allegiance, and even my handwritten version of God Bless USA. But by the way, I have the one signed by the president. I thought you might see that.
That's a good one. That's a keeper.
I got that blurred out so you can see it there.
That's a keeper. Yeah.
So my stance about America, everybody has the right to have a say. I think it's a delicate balance between those who say the wrong things and be punished for it, or it's the people that say the right things and be punished for it. As we know, the recent shooting at Florida State has expressed again somebody's right to take somebody else's life. And I think that's where we have to just take a look at ourselves and say, as a country, as we move towards the future, are we changing? And are we changing so much we can't find the middle ground? Because in that balance, everybody has a right to say something. They have a right to extend their arms, but not as long as they hit someone else. And as long as they have made somebody else feel uncomfortable by what they've said. So America is a community of all people. And my biggest trouble, of course, is having America changed by illegal immigration. That's the one that bothers me the most.
Good for you. Good for you, Lisa. Take a stand on that, as we all have. And that's really why we supported, a lot of people supported Donald Trump so vehemently for that illegal immigration, his position on illegal immigration, even as the courts are trying to test him on yet another thing. Lee, before we go, I'm wondering, maybe I know you're business managers. There's a couple of great guys. Those guys are wonderful. A guitar showed up at my house one day. I was like, wow, this is amazing. If those guys, if I can maybe ask them how about, a lot of artists like yourself do duets. How much would we love to see you and Trump sing God Bless the USA?
Interesting you would even say that, because Trump is very musical. The president has actually expressed that desire before. He said that when he was a very young child, his parents told him he had musical ability. I don't know that it's possible with the president. I would do it if he gets out of office, but there are a couple of versions of God Bless USA. The rock version, which went #1 on the charts with a friend of mine from Detroit, Drew Jacobs. And then we have another version that's coming out soon with Kid Rock, who sings it as well. And that's not a duet. But if you want to sing with me, I'll sing the duet with you.
We'll do
you
that.
May know the lyrics enough.
Let me tell you something. We had Ted Nugent on, a great friend of ours, of mine, I assume yours as well. He's in the MAGA world. He's part of us. We had him on, and as a child, growing up in high school, I used to listen to Stranglehold and all of Ted Nugent's songs. And I had the time of my life a couple months ago where Ted was playing guitar and I was singing Stranglehold. It was just wonderful. I'd love to sing God Bless You, the USA, with you sometime, maybe not this moment, but next time we get together, Lee, how about that?
You can do a lot of good things with an iPhone.
Yeah, that's true.
By the way, in this Easter weekend, I just want to make sure everybody prays for our country, prays for our military, and you should have this Bible. This is the God Bless USA Bible, which expresses our belief in the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. You held in the Bible there. Mine's blurred out, sorry. But you can get it on GodBlessUSABible.com or LeeGreenwood.com and get one and make sure you hold it in your hand. And God bless us all this Easter weekend.
I keep it in the car with me, Lee. It travels with me everywhere I go. Lee Greenwood. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us. And have a very happy, safe, and healthy Easter and going forward. Lee, thank you so much.
Thank you. And you too, your family as well.
Thank you. All right, folks, we'll be back in 2.5 minutes. All right, folks, let's bring in next a couple of folks who are very passionate, very, very passionate individuals. I've known them for a long time. Ann Vandersteel and Maureen Steele. Guys, I want to bring you in and allow you to tell the folks what this initiative is that you're so passionate about. And you want to kick it off?
Sure, Eric. Great to be with you. Thank you so much. Maureen and I came together because we saw a need that our country was not standing up in the fashion at which it needs to, at the fashion which our founding fathers envisioned 250 years ago, we the people or the government. And we can't wait for President Trump, as wonderful as he is, to do everything himself. He's dependent upon us. And he told us that when he was inaugurated in 2017, that he's returning power back to the people. So American Made Foundation, which is our educational nonprofit, and American Made Action, were basically, we gave birth to them essentially to have an action arm where we could go out and be part of the solution. Because having done media for a long time, Eric, I was tired of talking about the problems and I wanted some action in solving the problems. And there was nobody I could think of better than to join forces than with Maureen Steele, my good friend, who has been on the ground as a true advocate for people and an action doer, making things happen kind of gal with some of the best movements in this country. The biggest one, as you know, was the People's Convoy. So we have American Made on our side, and it's because the American people are coming together.
Yeah, that's exactly where I met Maureen the first time with the People's Convoy. I remember we were standing up, the truckers were standing up for individual rights, freedoms, and some of the things that were going south for the Canadian truckers. And Maureen, you put that together, and you've been on the map ever since promoting let's call it constitutional, first, second, and all the amendments ideas and forward. What's your take on this, Maureen?
Well, it is, I think the American people, the temperature out there right now is they've had it with all the malfeasance that's been going on with the government. I think DOJ has really amplified that, seeing all the waste and the money laundering. So people are at a point, and also certainly the judicial malfeasance that's happening, the lawfare against President Trump and the rest of us here in the country. People have had it. They want action items, and we have that now. We have organized actionable items and a task force. The DOJ, the Department of Government Accountability, will be announcing that on the steps of the DOJ the first week of May. And we also have the United Law Coalition. It's comprised of over 1,000 lawyers across the country. We've even had judges come out of retirement to want to be part of planning the strategy here. People that are constitutionalists and then just that can't stand to see the rule of law crumble in this country. So this is the movement, and this is the action plan. And we have, journalists behind us, and like I said, just over 1,000 lawyers that are, poised with a pen and with lawsuits to file back on the judges, these agencies that are so way out of line, that are money laundering and harming the people. One of the worst, and really our flagship is CPS. They destroy the American family, and if you destroy the American family, the backbone of society.
And Maureen, if I may, Child Protective Services, right? That's what you're talking about. Yeah, it is a mess. I have a niece who fostered and adopted 5 children. It is an absolute disaster what's going on with our children. It's very, very, very scary. And if I may, can you explain the difference between DOJ, which we know of, the Department of Government Efficiency, and DOJA, Department of Government Accountability? Tell us the difference of the two of those.
Sure. So Elon Musk obviously has been appointed by President Trump to head up the Department of Government Efficiency, which has done an extraordinary job of pointing out the waste, fraud, and abuse that has been going on and plaguing our government that's supposed to be of, by, and for the people, that we now know, and it has been exposed that it's not for any of us, it is for all of them, the people that have been robbing us blind, the people that are sitting on Capitol Hill, and the people that are sitting in these non-governmental organizations that are laundering the money like crazy, including supranational organizations like the United Nations, the WHO, et cetera. DOJA, Department of Government Accountability, is we the people. We are now going to hold these people accountable because we aren't seeing the accountability that we thought we were going to get within the first 100 days of this administration. And I'm not placing the blame at President Trump. I'm just saying that swamp is so massive that Pam Bondi, I think, is probably standing there in a circle going, which way do I, point first? There's just so much waste, fraud, and abuse. And there's so many people that, frankly, you've reported on it. I've reported on it. We've had thousands of citizen journalists report on all the different people like Adam Schiff, like Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and the list goes on. We know what they've done. We know the crimes. We understand where the money's being laundered, but yet we don't have action. So Maureen and I are taking it upon ourselves to head up the Department of Government Accountability, which is the people now holding their public servants accountable. And we're starting with agency government, Eric, because agency government is nowhere in our Constitution, nowhere in this document, which is really not a lot to read unlike our tax code, does it have anything about having agencies represent the people where you have unelected bureaucrats. It's always been about people that we chose to represent us. So we are taking the accountability piece into our own hands, and we're going to, through our network of lawyers, we're going to adjudicate the problems in the legal and lawful way. And we're also talking with provost marshals, because in some instances, when you have grand juries that stand and indict, you can't get a sheriff to actually follow through on the indictment with the presentment and make the arrest. So we're now networking with military provost marshals who will. And this is what it's going to take at this point, because we are not a nation of law and order. We're a nation of legal disorder. And it's by design through legal fiction to keep us tied up in knots in the courts for as long as they possibly can to keep getting away with it. So it's time for accountability, and we're bringing it, Eric.
Great, amazing, awesome. And Maureen, what Ann said, and I know you a very long time, I know you both, but I know Maureen a long time, citizen journalists, but also citizen activists. And that's really where the power, the strength in numbers comes. How are you getting it? Are you getting it? Is there enough? And for folks that want to get involved in this, which is really a great cause, how do they do that?
Sure. They can go to our website, www.American Made Action. And in there, you will find a place even for them to upload their own cases of judicial malfeasance. They can send that to us. We have paralegals that are going through all of that. And we'll be hitting every state within this year with lawsuits. And they can keep up with us. We're on a lot of podcasts. I'll be sending out newsletters. I do articles. The Blaze, American Thinker, American Greatness has been featuring my articles. So, and like I said, once we announce on the front steps of the DOJ, we'll be giving some more marching orders to people. But if they go to our site today, there's notices and affidavits there that they can sign and take action immediately. This is all electronic, and it'll go right into Pam Bondi's inbox.
Got it. Great. I'd love to cover this. What date is that? The DOJ steps announcement?
It's going to be the first week of May. We haven't nailed down a date yet, Eric, but I'll definitely let you know.
Great. All right, guys. Maureen Steele on screen right, and Vander Steele in the middle. Really good having you on, and we'll stay in touch and wish you all the best of luck with this stuff.
Thanks, Eric.
All right, folks. We'll be back in 2.5.
So I do want to say that was the setting he was in. I should also just say, I mentioned the fake margarita. That they actually wanted to have the meeting by the side of the pool, right, in the hotel. Just right. I mean, this is a guy who's been in CCOT. This is a guy who's been detained. They want to create this appearance that life was just lovely. For Kilmar, which of course is a big...
Senator, have you been having any conversations over the course of the last 48 hours? I know you've been busy in El Salvador with Trump administration officials. Was there any indication, maybe with the administration, that they were more flexible than what they were saying publicly?
I have not. I did have a meeting with folks at the American Embassy there. And I really want to applaud them and every member of the Foreign Service and State Department in El Salvador and everywhere around the world. I co-chair.
All right, let's get out of that, because that is Senator Chris Van Hollen from Maryland, who met with the Maryland man, which is what the left is trying to portray Garcia as, the guy who the MS-13 member that Trump deported, who, and by the way, Senator Van Hollen went to El Salvador and was pictured, I don't know how he's doing this, what a hypocrite. He's pictured having margaritas with Garcia. This is a guy who we've determined as MS-13 member, a domestic terrorist, and a U.S. senator to go there and have margaritas with this thug is embarrassing. Embarrassing for America, really embarrassing for the people of Maryland. All right, Mad Dog, pull up that tweet I saw last night, or I'm sorry, the truth I saw last night, and kind of blew me away a little bit. Proud to announce the formation of my revamped Homeland Security Advisory Council, HSAC, which is comprised of top experts in their field who are highly respected by their peers. It's a big honor to serve on HSAC, and I know the new members, South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster, Mark Levin, my friend, and a close friend of mine, Mr. Bo Dietl, as well as Joseph Gruters. Let's bring in that man right there, Bo Dietl. Congratulations, Bo. So Wow, Homeland Security advisory member. Wow, really, really impressive. How did that come down?
I'm elated, man. All I can say is one thing. The president is a man of his word. And when I was with him at the inauguration, he was very happy to see me. And he did what he said he was going to do. And I think he wants me to do a little bit more. I still got a lot of energy left. I just did 85 push-ups twice in a row this morning. I still got it left. And part of my thing, what I want to do, I love Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, and what he's doing in this country is great. Then you get a moron senator like this sucking up to a gang member but where are the rights to all the American citizens that were destroyed by these gangs and these illegal illegal criminals that are in our country, Eric? And you know I'm a very passionate guy, and I've seen a lot. My life in the New York City Police Department ended 40 years ago. Last case, 10 dead, shot in the head, including 8 children under the age of 12. Then the famous case with the rape of the nun, and on and on. So then I went into the private practice. While I've been in the private practice, all I've been doing is security stuff. Some of the biggest events, the U.S. Opens, the Grammys, everything there, and we conduct investigations. We've been involved in investigations with Boeing aircraft, with the Chinese hacking, and this is one of the big areas that I really want to get involved with. You know, we have a grid, and all along our grid line, our electrical grid. I want to find out when these people came to our southern border. I'm not even just talking about the South Americans. It was vast amounts of Chinese individuals in their late 20s and their early 30s. They didn't have any luggage with them except for a briefcase. They had no families with them. Where the hell did they go? I want to find them. And if they're illegally in this country and they're hacking into our corporations, I want to get them.
If you know Bo, like I know Bo, you don't want Bo chasing your ass down because he's going to find you. And you're right, Bo. There was literally tens of thousands of Chinese, especially the fourth year of the Biden term, where they're trying to ramp up their push of whoever these people are, and then they just go, they like cockroaches. The light goes on. Where did they go? We got Bo on it. Where did they go?
And we know one thing, Eric. I talked to a 3-star admiral the other day. I am so scared about our Navy readiness right now. And that's another thing I have to talk to our Secretary of Defense about. They did a whole evaluation 3 years ago, was given to that moron head of the Defense Department, the guy with Afghanistan, that jerk, the one that had a heart attack and didn't tell the prison.
Yeah, Lloyd Austin.
Here's what it's all about.
Lloyd Austin and Mark Humiliation Miller.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
My problem, Eric, is I have grandchildren. I just had a brand new grandchild that was just born, and I'm very, very happy to be a grandpa. I'm worried about them, and I'm worried about America, and we have to get our readiness, our military readiness. When you have all these people hacking into our military, our advanced cyber stuff that they're hacking in, this is scary, Eric. I want to help this president. Whatever this president tells me to do, I will do. Yeah. Give me a pardon for the future, Eric.
Bo,
and then whatever I do in the future,
I want to ask you, is there any? You were New York City detective. You've been around the block. You know your stuff. Any question in your mind, like a court has already found this, ICE has already found this. Any question in your mind that Abrego Garcia is an MS-13 member or at least a gangbanger? Any question?
Look, first of all, the 2 courts found him to be guilty. 2 undercourts are there. Now we're worried about it. Now you got a United States Senate. Hey, United States Senate, I'd like to meet with you. Now that I'm on Homeland Security, I'll meet you in your office. I'll explain you. I'll show you some pictures of the violent crimes that these illegals have done in our country. And you want to run over there and suck up to them. You know what, Senator? Stay home, okay? Please, I'll deal with you. Now that I got this title, Mr. President, I will do what you want me to do. And we got to slap down some of these liberal people that don't realize America is the greatest country in the world. We have to protect all our American citizens. We have immigrants. I'm an immigrant. My mom was born in Italy, but we went the right way. We do things legally. We live by the laws. That's what it's about. When you become a criminal and you're illegally in this country, bye-bye.
Bo, I love you, Bo. But you were born here. You're not an immigrant. Your mother was an immigrant. Yeah. I love you, Bo. The control room, I know it's from the A block. Can you find that Eric Adams soundbite? Because Bo knows Eric Adams. And you and I, Bo, go back and forth on this guy. I don't trust him. I think he's a Trojan horse. But he says that he was always in favor of having a tough border and throwing criminals out. Yeah. I know he declared New York a sanctuary city. I know he was in favor of that until recently. Do you have that soundbite, Mad Dog? Let's play that.
Are you openly working with the Trump administration, I mean, as you work with them on these issues, are you comfortable with the way in which they are rounding up and deporting people, especially in the case of what is going on right now with a federal judge ordering the Trump administration to facilitate the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and the administration is refusing?
Well, you know, one thing I'm clear on is that I'm not a hypocrite. I've been very clear on my policies, and if we look at the wording and the communications I stated Trump, President Trump being elected, it's the same. There's consistency. And what I am clear on, we must have federal immigration policies. When you allow an open border and you allow anyone to come through, you have a $7.5 billion price tag on our cities. El Paso shouldn't be going through this. Chicago shouldn't be going through this. New York shouldn't be going through this.
Bo, I contend Mayor Eric Adams, contrary to what he just said, is in fact a hypocrite, a massive hypocrite. Am I wrong?
Was that Big Bird standing next to him?
No. It was not de Blasio, but it doesn't matter.
It looked like him.
On topic here, Eric Adams says he was always in favor of a tough border and throwing out the illegals who are here. BS, yeah, Eric Adams. You weren't. You declared New York a sanctuary city. Go ahead.
He was welcoming everyone on the buses. Welcome. Here's a phone. Here's a house. Here, you get it. Welcome to New York. If you were so against it, you could have had an executive order against this liberal city council and put an executive order. This will not be a sanctuary city. My candidate for mayor of New York City is Curtis Lewa. And you don't have to give him a pardon for him to be an honest guy.
All right. But we're going to have to leave it there, my friend. Always outspoken. By the way, congratulations.
Hold on.
Thank you for doing this. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
To get appointed by the president, my first show is when you are. We go way back. I love you. I'm glad about your show. You look great. God bless America. And thank you, President Trump. God bless you. I will do what you need me to do.
Now, Trump picked the right guy. Trump picked the right guy to track down these criminal illegal aliens who are infesting all our major cities. Bo Dietl, folks, there he is. The next administration.
Happy Easter, everybody.
That's
Happy Easter.
You and Elon. Bo Dietl and Elon Musk.
Easter,
I would love to
everybody.
sit at that table. That's going to be great. Bo, have a great Easter, brother.
Great. Happy Easter.
All right,
bye-bye.
Break. Just want to remind you all about the podcast and YouTube page of this show. Me, Bolling. You got to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Absolutely there. Hit it on Apple or Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, but you must do it. It's free, folks. It's free. Just do it. Helps us all out. And you get unique content, even stuff that's not on television right now. All right, we'll be back with Bannon in 2.5 minutes. Well, look at that. Port Canaveral. All right, that's Florida, okay? Port Canaveral. Now, all week I've been teasing this with a bumper shot, and that's a live shot right there. Kennedy Space Center. And the reason why I am is because Sunday night, Monday morning at 4:15 in the morning, NASA, in conjunction or in cooperation with SpaceX, is going to blast off a Falcon 9 rocket to supply the International Space Station. I'm going to be there covering it, talk to astronauts, going to talk to some folks there. Experience that for a show I do on X, and we're going to bring you as much as that as I can. Looking forward to that. I've never really attended a space launch in person before, so that's why we've been teasing this all week. All right, let's bring in my man, the myth, the legend, Stephen K. Bannon. Bannon, I saw something. I saw a headline, and we had to look at it, and I said, we got to talk to Steve about this. Let's pull up that first full screen, if you don't mind. That's from a Mediaite article. Karl Rove warns that Americans are already exhausted by Trump and his thirst for revenge. Quoting Karl Rove, this will end badly for him, meaning Trump. Pull up the next one. It refers us back to a Wall Street Journal article, of course. No love for Trump at Wall Street Journal. America gets Trump fatigue. And then if you give me the third full screen, and we see that Mr. Karl Rove was embraced by the Wall Street Journal to write that op-ed. See, Bannon, what is happening with Rupert Murdoch-owned properties, the Wall Street Journal. Rove is a Fox News contributor, and this Trump derangement syndrome seems to be infecting them as well, does it not?
Well, I think it affected them when President Trump, when the election was stolen in 2020. They didn't have him on live, I don't think, for 2 years. They wouldn't even do the rallies. People at RAV know that because Right Side Broadcasting and Real America's Voice made its bones in those years as covering President Trump nonstop live and direct. No, I think, Eric, we started the show this morning with Ezra Klein saying the crisis is here, right, because of the terrorists that President Trump's sending to Central America. He's saying the crisis is here. This is the constitutional crisis. Then we had David Brooks. David Brooks lost it yesterday, saying that people had to take to the streets. This was the moment that you had to stop the autocratic breakthrough. I mean, for a conservative, he completely lost it. And then you had Karl Rove. President Trump's breaking people. This has nothing to do with revenge. This is President Trump doing what he said he was going to do, and he's going after the institutions.
But see,
this country is so corrupt, particularly the colleges.
Let me talk to you about this, right? So Karl Rove he was a Bushy. We know he's been Bushy. He was the architect of 43. He was buddies with 41. This time around, Fox wasn't. They kind of embraced DeSantis early, and then they finally got on board when they realized Trump was going to win. And then here's my question. Trump picked something like 19 people from Fox to populate his administration. Do you like this idea? Are you all right with it? You good with that?
Well, I think the people from Fox are people like you. I think the people from Fox that once unfettered from Fox, you're natural MAGA. I mean, you've been with the president for a long time, and your beliefs have been kind of MAGA beliefs that were a little bit suppressed over there. So I don't really have a problem with picking so many Fox people. I know most of these people, or all of them, and they're good folks. And you see, I think they're doing really good, solid jobs. I think it's the ownership apparatus, as you know, and also at other channels. I mean,
but I agree.
Real America's
Great
Voice.
people, great folks, right, Steve? But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to do this right here, and the world's going to go crazy. They won't come on. These people have been told, and I'm not going to say who they are. Cabinet secretaries have told me personally, we're told only to go on Fox, and that rubs me the wrong way. Steve, you and I have been there. T minus T plus before Trump even launched. We've been there. And I just don't get it. And for Fox, they've been on board, and they've been.
I have
not
a different perspective.
Go.
No, I have a different perspective on this. I don't think you need, if we needed cabinet guys on here, we get it. I think we actually have a lot more freedom to get the message out if you don't have cabinet, because they're restricted on what they say. They have to come and do the talking points. I think we can add context. It's very tough to do. This is why we do the cold opens. We put out there what's said and then give some context to it. So, that I don't have an issue with. I think I have an issue is people like Karl Rove, who are essentially a mouthpiece for the Wall Street Journal and for Fox News, now really attacking President Trump and saying, hey, people are getting tired of Trump. It's going to end badly. This is just a mantra they put out nonstop. Fox is not going to be with President Trump halfway through this. This is what I said at the beginning when he talked about all the inaugural events. I said, hey, wait till 100 days out. And I want to see all the tech bros and everybody's rubbing up on Trump and all the corporatists and everybody's a supplicant down Mar-a-Lago. Wait to the 100th day and let's see who's with us. Who's with us and who's against us.
Good point.
And they're already starting to peel off, which I think is fine. Eric, you're down for a fight. I'm down for a fight. This audience is down for a fight.
Oh, hell yeah. And we'll call them out. We'll call the hypocrisy out because it runs deep. Do I have time? Do I have time for the Steve Bannon soundbite? Guys, play it. I love this.
The lawfare of Tish James and Alvin Bragg and Jack Smith and Merrick Garland has been rejected by a landslide by the American people. So the one thing I have to say to Merrick Garland, Lisa Monaco, Jack Smith, Tish James, Alvin Bragg, you wait. The hunted are about to become the hunters. Thank you very much.
Well, yeah, that's one. I actually was mad. I was looking for the one where Steve said that there's actually a window for Trump to remain president through 2028. Can you tell us real quickly?
The window, what do you mean to 2028?
J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance.
On the afternoon of the 20th of January, 2029, he's going to be president. I think that we'll lay out our plans closer to the midterms, or maybe right after the midterms, the more traditional starting gun. But President Trump's not going anywhere. This is what Karl Rove. You may think it's going to end badly. We think it's majestic. We think it's magnificent, and it's going to roll on. So if we broke Karl Rove, David Brooks, and Ezra Klein all within the first, I think, 80 days, President Trump's doing something right, don't you think, Eric
I think
Bolling?
he's doing everything right, and I'm actually encouraged to see Karl Rove say stupid crap like that, because I know Karl Rove has been a dinosaur or a rhino for the better part of the last 8 years.
Oh man, Bolling, I love these handoffs. You get the best material.
I love you, brother. Have a great weekend. Have a
Thank you, man.
Beautiful Easter Sunday. Talk to you Monday, Steve.
Thank you, sir.